Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Burgundy Zone. I am your host, Kyle, and I'm joined by my two co-hosts, Michael Hall
You reporting live from Maine.
and Michael Reed.
What is up, YouTubers? This is your.
What is
Whoa.
going on with your connection? It is crappy. Look, Hall is out in Maine, and he has a better connection than you. But we are also joined by special guest again, Zach Selby, staff writer for the Washington Redskins. Thank you so much for joining us again, sir.
Appreciate you guys. I appreciate coming back, and now the Washington football team.
Oh,
Yeah.
did I say the R word? Of course I did. I still have yet to adjust to that, and I think everyone else, the Washington Football Team Nation, is going to struggle doing that as well. But Zach, I really appreciate you coming back on here because look, a lot has happened in the 2 months since we've had you on here, and one of the biggest things was Julie Donaldson coming into the building and running the media team. So I have to ask you, what has she done? How has it been since she's taken over?
Well, I've only been able to work with her for about a couple of days now because we're still kind of in this period of us going back to work and then us stay working from home. But in the couple of interactions that I've had with her, she seems like she's settling in pretty well. She's still doing kind of sort of figuring things out, but next week she is going to be really busy for her, I know, and it seems like she brings a lot of new energy into the room, which is always very, very appreciated. And I mean, I've worked with her in the locker room last year, and she's just a consummate professional in everything that she does. And I think she's going to bring a lot of good stuff to this team, and I'm really excited to work with her in the future for sure.
Yeah, and look, she has already brought a bright spot onto the team. It was a perfect fit to bring her on for the image because, look, she's a very successful person. She's done very well for herself, and they could not have picked anybody more perfect. I can't elaborate on that even more. She's amazing. But one thing I wanted to ask you is that the Redskins, they've recently lost Cody Latimer. He's now on the commissioner's exempt list because of the recent arrest. The Washington football team lost Kelvin Harmon 2 weeks ago to an ACL tear. And now it looks like they're going to be out with Emmanuel Hall as well. So I have to ask you, are the Washington football team, are they going to go get a veteran wide receiver from the free agent market? And if they are, who do you think that would be?
Well, I'll just say first of all, I mean, losing Kelvin Harmon is a big loss. I mean, I think I was really excited to see what he was going to do this year. I think a lot of people were. And when I saw the news that on Twitter that he had tore his ACL, I was like, man, it hit me for a second because I was really looking forward to him. And like you mentioned, there are some serious losses there, and I think they could, but I think they're going to wait a little bit and see. The important thing that Coach Rivera said today during his press conference was that they're going to have this period after they deal with the quarterbacks for about 4 days. They're going to have 8 days where they're going to be able to see, what their players are doing from a conditioning standpoint. It's not going to be like a practice or anything like that, but it's going to be, you're going to get to see where these players are from a physical standpoint, how they're working the offense and things like that. And I think that's going to tell you a lot about what this team is going to do at the wide receiver position. I do think that, like, you look at some of the waiver wires. I mean, like, they've got Demaryius Thomas still out there, Tavon Austin is still out there, Chris Hogan. I mean, like, I mentioned a lot of those in my takeaways today from the press conference, and I think that he could. I mean, all of those guys could be options, but the important thing is they want to see what they have on the roster first, and that's pretty much been the philosophy for this team ever since Rivera was hired in January. They want to see what they got, and this is really the first time that they're going to be able to see with their own eyes. They've been doing all this virtual stuff for the Zoom meetings and everything like that. But now they're going to be able to see, okay, this is almost like a progress report a little bit. It's like, okay, what have you been doing this offseason? What have you been doing this summer? And then once they see, okay, this is what we like, this is what we don't like, then they'll be able to make that decision. But I think it's kind of like a hurry up and wait situation. But I will say this, that at the end of that, when he was asked about this specifically, Coach Rivera said at the very end, if there is one position that we would like to maybe sort of add some depth to that, it would certainly be that one. So we'll just have to wait and see what he does.
Yeah, and I'm glad to hear that because that was one of my things early on was, we have a lot of young and great talent on that wide receiving core. And the last thing we want to do is take a grenade to it with some random wide receiver like Antonio Brown who could possibly blow up the locker room. I'm glad to hear that. Now, a lot has been said about the number 2 wide receiver position, Zach, and I have to go into it because Washington football Twitter has been going crazy with all a bunch of theories. Do you think AGG will take that number 2 spot?
I think he's certainly got an opportunity to do so. I think, if you look at what he did at Liberty, he certainly got the talent to accomplish that. You can't rule out Steven Sims either. I mean, he is kind of a slot guy, but I do believe that it's a competition, and they're gonna see what they have, and they're going to say, okay, this is the spot that we have open. Go see if you can take it and see if you really want it. I think AGG does have the skills to do it. He's big, he's tall, he can make those catches, and I mean, if they seem to really like him a lot. And as terrible as it is for Kelvin Harmon to go down, it does create an opportunity for him to take that spot if he wants it. Mm-hmm. And I think from one of the interactions I've had with AGG, he seems like he's a very motivated and focused guy. I mean, you have to be if you're going to be able to solve all those Rubik's cubes and things like that.
All live on television too.
Yeah, I know, which is completely.
It's insane.
I'm throwing my Sudoku across the frustration. But to answer your question, I do think it's hard to say right now because we're not even going to be able to have practice for a couple of weeks. But I will say that he's definitely up there, and he's going to be considered. He'll be given the chance if he really wants it.
Yeah, and I'm glad to hear that because, like you said, he has all the skills to be a professional wide receiver in this league.
Mm-hmm. And he really complements Terry McLaurin and Steven Sims well. Like his skill set being the bigger wide receiver, the tall guy, the jump ball 50-50 guy, somebody who's just big and tough. He fills in well for Kelvin Harmon. Kelvin Harmon was the guy to go over the middle, make the tough catch. And AGG is somebody who can really complement those guys' skill sets well, with the speed and shiftiness of Steven Sims and then just the do-it-all of Terry McLaurin. So I think that would be ideal. That would be perfect.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at what McLaurin and Sims do well, it's obviously their speed.
Right.
I mean, like they had sort of the same build, and their speedsters are going to beat you down the field. But AGG he's a target, and in a very good way. I mean, he finds ways to get open very well, especially get zone coverage. And I mean, when you're that big with that ability to catch the ball, you're gonna be a quarterback's best friend. And I mean, Dwayne Haskins is gonna love him already. I mean, I'm pretty sure y'all seen the Twitter videos of him just snagging things out of the air. So I gotta say, it's gonna be exciting to see what they can do on the field.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
I can't wait to see what he does in the red zone and on goal line situations inside the 20 and stuff like that. I think he's gonna be a huge threat. He's a good 50-50 guy. And, like you said, on Twitter, he's going up and snagging those one-handed catches. And I can't wait to see him do it against someone like what's Stephon Diggs' brother? Trayvon Diggs.
Trayvon Diggs.
Yeah. And look, I did AGG's film breakdown earlier in the right after before we had drafted him, and that was one of the most fun film sessions that I've been able to cover. He was literally just destroying those guys, and transitioning to the professional league is going to be hard for him, but obviously, like you said, he's a motivated individual. This guy, he seems like a Terry McLaurin type of mentality guy, if that makes any sense.
And with that size and that body, if you have that mentality, you can succeed.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's one of the things I've noticed about any player that Rivera brings in. They're very much team guys that they want to go out and do their job. And I mean, that's a good quality to have in uniformity with all of your players, because you want to have guys who are going to go out there for the team, especially now. I mean, I think that's a very important thing about it. So, for sure, very much Terry McLaurin-esque.
Now, Zach, one of the last questions we asked you the last time we had you on was your kind of relationship with Alex, what you saw from Alex Smith from your time being with the team. But now I have a different question for you. Same guy. He's been cleared by his surgical team. He hasn't been cleared by the actual Washington football team doctors yet. He's been placed on the PUP, which means he cannot come back until after Week 8. So let me ask you, can you kind of educate the Washington football team fan base on what he's going to be able to do while on the PUP list? Is he going to be able to be on the practice field and film sessions and help Dwayne and Kyle Allen kind of get adjusted to the pros?
Well, he's going to be doing a lot of the same stuff that he was doing, last year. He's going to be able to mentor, the young quarterback. He's going to be there for Dwayne. He's going to be there for Kyle Allen. He's going to be there for Steve Montez. He's going to be there for all of them. So I think that's going to be his biggest thing right now. But I mean, if you read the ESPN story, his eyes are focused on practicing, and I mean that's the biggest decision while they put him on the PUP list. Is they wanted to see what's going to happen with his injury. They want to see how he's coming along, and that's really what it's going to be able to do. They're going to be able to monitor him a little bit more, and they're going to see, okay, whenever he's ready, see how they do with football shape. Because I'm sure I don't have to tell either of y'all that like being in football strength is completely different than just going out and working out and things like that. I mean, he hadn't played in 2 years, and I mean, we all love Alex, and we all love the incredibly impossible story that he's been going on for the past 2 years, but he's entering a different stage right now, and this has always been the plan going forward, but it's going to be a little bit different for him now. He's going to have to work out a little bit differently, trying to prep for practice, which is completely different from rehabbing.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be his biggest focus now going forward.
Yeah, and it's not like this is a Trent situation where he was able to go out and do stuff in the time being that he was off. Alex has been, for the most part, he's been secluded to his house, been sitting down the whole time. So the football shape, you're absolutely right, Zach. That is a legitimate thing, and that needs to be questioned. It makes sense why they would activate him on the PUP, because, like you said, they want to see where he is. They want to work him out and see if he is in football shape. And look, we're all rooting for Alex, but the thing is, him being on the practice field and being able to see the defenses break down and see what the defensive formations, being able to talk to Kyle Allen and Dwayne, kind of interpret what he's seeing, I think is going to be monumental for their progression this season. And I think we're going to see a lot better of Dwayne Haskins for sure.
Yeah, and another thing to know about the PUP list, they can take him off the PUP list at any time. So if they feel like he is ready to go back on the field during training camp, they're going to do it. And a question was asked to Rivera today about what happens if he's taken off the PUP list during training camp, and Rivera said something, we compete. That's simply the truth of the matter. I mean, if we feel like he's ready, he'll be a part of that equation. Now, I mean, they don't really know exactly when that day he's going to take on the PUP list is going to be.
Right.
But I mean, if I had to guess, I'm sure they're planning to see what's going to happen with it. And I mean, I guarantee you this: whenever he does get taken off the PUP list, it's going to be an exciting moment, because I've always felt he's going to play it at some point. And I never believed that his career was over. I feel like, and he's proven time and time again that he's not just gonna retire quietly into the night.
Right.
He seems like he's determined to at least get out there at least one more time, and that's really exciting. I mean, I think we're all, like I said, we're all rooting for him, and whenever he gets on the field again, it's going to be a truly special moment.
Yeah, and I'm so happy to hear that, the whole competition being brought to every single position on the football field. You have to earn your job. It doesn't matter who you are. I mean, look at Ryan Kerrigan, only a couple sacks away from getting the Washington football team all-time sack leader, and he might not have a starting job coming this season. But I wanted to ask you real quick, Zach. Caleb Brantley is one of the only Redskins that has opted out of his contract due to COVID. Nobody's downplaying him or saying anything about him. My question to you is, do you see any other Washington football team members, players opting out this season?
It's really hard to say, because everybody's situation is completely different.
Right.
And I mean, I wasn't expecting Caleb Brantley to be on that list, opt-out list, but it's like I said, it's a personal decision, and you really can't blame anybody right now, especially in this particular time when there's so much uncertainty in the world, and 2020 being the year that it is. So I think, I mean, it's hard to say, like I said, but I mean, you just got to take it as it is. And if there is another player that comes and say, I want to opt out, you have to respect that, and you have to adjust your team moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, the last thing I wanted to get to was the Washington football team has signed 2 free agents. That was Kevin Pamphile and then Donald Payne. Kevin being a offensive lineman, I think a tackle if I'm not mistaken, and Donald Payne being a kind of smaller linebacker. And Reuben Foster, just the other day, along with Alex, got activated to the PUP list. So let me ask you, is that kind of a addition by subtraction with this team with going to get Donald Payne? And do you think that Kevin Pamphile is going to actually have some starting time this season?
Well, he might. I mean, I think you look at Kevin Pomfal's history. I mean, he's been a starter in this league for quite a bit of time. I mean, in 2018, that was the last time he got significant playing time, and he was a starter for the Titans, and the Titans did pretty well. There was a running team, and that's something that with all the running backs that Washington has. I mean, you're gonna want to run the ball at least a little bit. And I mean, he definitely knows how to run, how to block for players like Derrick Henry and other power running backs like that. So I think, I mean, he was a left guard primarily throughout his career, so he could potentially be one of those guys that comes into camp and tries to compete for that starting left guard spot, which is open. That all the coaches have been pretty clear that that's a spot they're going to have to look at. And I don't know that much about Payne, but I do know that they do like the linebackers that they have, but they're always looking to find some depth. And I'm sure it's such a weird time with training camp and everything like that. And I hope that they give him that he gives them some depth at linebacker. But I'm sure if he comes out of camp with a roster spot, he'll definitely deserve it for sure.
Right. One thing that I was reading about Payne was that out of 92 qualified linebackers that had a certain amount of snaps, he ranked 92nd out of those linebackers, according to PFF, with a 26.9 rating, I believe. So you can't expect too much from him, but that could just be a fantastic depth signing. I mean, if he got that many snaps playing on defense, and obviously he can get on the football field, and it could just be good depth for us. So I like both of those signings. I really like the Panthers signing as well, because like you said, he's a versatile offensive lineman. Left guard's not really solidified yet. I think that he could really come in here and push and get some time on the field.
Yeah, and that being said, with Jack Del Rio being a linebackers coach and defensive coordinator, him being a former linebacker along with Ron Rivera, you have to imagine that any of these linebackers, their play is going to be elevated. So I can't really equate them to what they did in Jacksonville, but that's a good point, Reed. So, Hall, I think you have a question for Zach.
Yeah, all of us were on Twitter throughout the day, obviously, and Washington Twitter was going crazy about the Bryce Love news, and I wanted to ask a question. What is the coaching staff – or is the coaching staff excited about Bryce Love, and what do you see him doing in 2020 if he makes a team?
Well, the simple answer to that is yes, 100% they are excited about it. I know because Rivera was asked this question this morning, and he said, that he has been cleared for a physical. He is going to be out there practicing, and that's really exciting, I think, because he hasn't been able to be on the team, do anything since he got drafted.
And he was so good at Stanford.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, in 2017 he had over 2,000 yards,
right?
And he was a Heisman finalist, and he did all this great stuff. And Rivera said he's a great out of the backfield. He's a great runner, and he's going to add a different dimension to this running back group that's already crowded. So, and again, it comes down to he's going to have to compete. I mean, there is really no. Almost no drop off. I mean, there can't be. You have to step in there, and you have to show why you deserve to be on this roster, especially in a time like now. So I'm excited for him. I know Rivera's excited for him, and he fits right into what Scott Turner wants completely.
Right.
You look at what Scott Turner likes to do. He likes to have running backs who can run and catch passes out of the backfield, line them up at a slot, and when you know it, they've already got a guy who can do that. Kyle Smith, Vice President Player Personnel, said at the Combine he sees maybe a little bit of Christian McCaffrey and Darius Guice and Bryce Love, which is certainly a big compliment for sure.
And let's not forget, Bryce Love replaced Christian McCaffrey at Stanford, and he could be replacing Scott Turner this coming year, and maybe he could fill a similar role. They have very similar skill sets.
Now, I got one last question for you, Zach, before we let you go. I know you're a busy man. You just got home from work. You want to kick your feet up and relax. I completely understand. But the Redskins name change and the current uniforms that they're going into the season with, do you have a favorite name right now that you see?
I was kind of expecting that question to come.
I forgot to ask you.
There are a lot of really good names out there. I think Red Wolves is probably the one that's gotten the most attention. I mean, who doesn't like Red Wolves? I know Fred Smoot likes it, and I mean, if you listen to him, he'll win you over on it. I mean, the point he makes about 80,000 fans howling like wolves whenever Chase Young makes a sack is, I mean, it gives you goosebumps just thinking about it. And I mean, Warriors is definitely up there. Red Tail is one that I like the meaning behind
the message, right?
But yeah. But yeah, it's just so, I think there's a lot of good ones out there, and I'm down with whatever they pick. I think it's going to be a good decision because they do have the right plan going forward with this. They do seem like they're going to take their time picking a name, which I think is the right decision.
Yeah.
Because we were talking to Fred Smoot the other day, and he was saying like it's just a month or two. It's kind of hard to just rebrand an entire NFL team almost overnight. Right. So I think whatever they come up with I can comfortably say they're going to have a lot of thought process into it. They're going to listen to focus groups and things like that. So I think that's going to be the good decision, whatever they roll with.
I hate the name Red Wolves, but because I like you, Zach, I'm gonna let it fly. Okay, but no, but in all honesty, I appreciate you for being honest with that. And you're absolutely right. We're so glad that they're doing their due diligence and finding the right name, because the last thing you want to do is rush through this thing and have another issue come up in 20 to 30 years. Like Snyder said, they want to be able. Or Rivera said they want to be able to use this name for 100 years. And so the best way to do that is to take your time with it. Thank you so much, Zach, for joining us again tonight, sir. Go enjoy your night. Keep up the great work. We're loving all the content you're putting out, and I hope you have a great one.
Thanks, you. All right, man. I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good one, all right? It was great to be on again. It really was.
No, I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah.
Y'all have a good one.
You too, brother. Thank you.
Take it easy.
So, guys, so I wanted to specifically talk about this tonight. Thank you so much for Zach for coming on, by the way. This is a great interview. He gave us a lot of great content.
Always love his insight.
The NFL Top 100. What is going on?
I'll answer this one first.
Who's doing these ratings? Well, Larry Fitzgerald at 61, and then what was it? Jarvis Landry.
Jarvis Landry was at 61.
Oh, Jarvis Landry was at 61.
Was 68 or something. 63.
Yeah. What is going on?
First of all, DK Metcalf coming in at 81. He came in rated high. First of all, he's not even the best rookie wide receiver. Okay. Terry McLaurin and A.J. Brown are better wide receivers than him right now. They just are. And their play just backs it up. He's not better than Cooper Kupp right now. He's not better than who was the other player that he was overhaul? I remember.
It was
what's his face? It's a good wide receiver.
Allen Robinson.
Yeah, he's not better than Allen Robinson right now. I don't understand how he was rated that high, but I guess just the fact that he plays in Seattle, the fact that he plays with Russell Westbrook. I mean,
Russell Wilson.
But Russell Wilson. Who wants to play with Russell Westbrook? He doesn't pass. Russell Wilson passes. But it's a sham. It's ridiculous. And then having some of these other guys, like we said, Larry Fitzgerald that high, as good as he is, Hall of Fame player, but it's a travesty. And I think that Terry McLaurin is going to use that as motivation. So there should be no Redskins on there this year. There shouldn't, because there won't be any Redskins on there this year.
Unless Tress Way finds a way on there. Which I don't see that happening.
Tress Way's top 5. Yeah, top 5.
I thought he was going to be number 1 at one point.
Yeah, well, doesn't it suck though that of course, as soon as we get
you're
Preston Smith's on there.
What is going on? You're breaking up again, Reed. Oh, there you go. I think you're coming back now. Yeah, thanks.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Am I back?
Yep.
Yeah.
I can't wait to move.
Your face says it all right now.
It's fucking annoying.
Yeah, and
my jersey fell mid-interview.
No, it's absolutely ridiculous that Terry McLaurin was not put on this list. I love Jarvis Landry is a good wide receiver, but he did not warrant being 61. I thought that was kind of ridiculous. That kind of just goes into the pumping up of the Cleveland Browns that's been going on for the past 2 years. Ever since they got Baker, it just kind of seems like they're just like putting in guys. It's almost like a popularity contest.
That's what I said. Yeah.
At this point, because look, Terry should be on that list. The fact that Terry did go over 1,000 yards in what seemed like a tumultuous season for the Washington football team is absolutely ridiculous that he's not getting the proper recognition.
Yeah, Terry was just over 900. I think he was at 919 or something. But if he would have played the other 2 games, he would have went over. But the last Odell Beckham, his rookie year, he was the only rookie wide receiver in the last 10 years to be rated higher than Terry McLaurin. Odell was in the 30s. I think he was 31 his rookie year, and that was all because of a catch and because he played in New York.
Yeah.
So it's just stupid that Terry's not even on the list after what he did.
Yeah, and
it's the Washington football hate, man. I'm telling you, like
that's what it is.
It's a widespread thing amongst other NFL fans, media. I'm convinced of it at this point because it's almost a travesty for McLaurin to not be on there. I mean, he was a standout player even before AJ Brown kind of like burst onto the scene and started going ham with the Titans and Ryan Tannehill. It was all about Terry McLaurin as a standout rookie and was almost the front runner for Rookie of the Year at one point. So again, it's just the Washington football team hate coming out to light and showing.
Yeah, it showed its ugly face yet again. It's going to continue being so, I think, until we start winning, to be perfectly honest with you.
It's like Terry McLaurin said on Twitter. He ain't even turned up yet in the year 2, so I can't wait. He's about to tear shit up next year.
Now I want to go into, guys. I want to actually have an intelligent debate here on who the Washington football team. I know that we just heard from Zach that they're going to let the competition play out. They want to see what they have in the building before they go outside to bring anybody in. But let's just fast forward. Let's say they do have to bring somebody in. There are a lot of names on this list that could help the Washington football team this season at wide receiver. So I want to ask you guys who you think that should be. And let's start with you, Reed.
Well, there's a few guys that they can bring in. I mean, of course, I think we would all like for AGG to step up and take over that second spot. But regardless, they're going to need to bring in somebody. And whether that's somebody like Josh Gordon, like as we've all talked about, as talented as he is, we don't want them to bring in AB. But I think somebody – maybe they could go out there and make a move. Maybe they could go out there and make a trade if they don't like the wide receivers that are available. Because I just don't see how somebody like Tavon Austin necessarily fits in with us. Mm-hmm. There's a few other guys out there that maybe you could bring on to kind of replace Latimer, I guess. But it's tough. It's not that deep of a crop of wide receivers left right now. So you kind of almost have to go out and make a move. So I don't know who it's going to be. I guess at this point we're all kind of just hoping it's Josh Gordon or bust. But I really want one of these rookies to step up and take over that second wide receiver spot.
Yeah, and look, I'm right there with you. I think another name on there, Ryan Grant, is a free agent right now. Jay Gruden's boy. Look, he is a Swiss Army knife. He can go all over the field. He can block and do well. He's just going to do the dirty work. He's not going to blow you away with speed. And like you said, Reed, with Tavon Austin, we already have two of those guys in Terry McLaurin and Steven Sims, like Zach had alluded to earlier, with being speed guys. And I know Tavon Austin brings to the table the possibility of a punt returner and kick returner. But so do we. We already,
Bryce Love.
Right. We have a bunch of guys on the roster already that bring that. Now, Trey Quinn is another guy that's on the roster that everyone seems to be forgetting about. But maybe he's getting incredibly incredibly lucky right now. I hate to say it. I hate to say that, but it's true.
To make the roster now.
Yeah. Without these injuries, I wasn't sure that I thought that he was a clear cut off of this roster.
Cut. Yeah. Who knows? Maybe Cam Sims finally steps up. The media's been pumping him up for the last 3 off seasons. So I love Cam Sims, though. I do like him, but he just. I really feel like it's going to be.
There you are. No, you're not. You're good. You're back now. Another one is Chris Hogan. He played for Carolina last year, coming from the New England system, a former lacrosse player, a fast guy. He's 31 years old. He's older, but he knows the Scott Turner's offense. He was with them last season. That could be another guy that they could just add in as a depth piece that has reliable hands. He comes from a good system, and he's going to work hard. I think you're talking about a character guy and making sure that you're bringing in good guys to his locker room. I don't think you can go wrong with Chris Hogan or Ryan Grant. In my opinion, I think those guys would be slam dunks. But I just thought of this. Maybe what Ron Rivera is saying is that they're waiting for cuts from other teams. Yeah. Seeing other guys from other teams fall off, get cut, so that they can go pluck for the easy and quick money. And I would absolutely love that because that's smart buying right there.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some wide receiver rooms that got crowded, especially after this draft, where you could see some pretty decent veterans go out there and get cut. Like I know the Raiders made a lot of moves, the Broncos made a lot of moves, the Bengals get AJ Green back, and they just drafted T Higgins. So I mean, there's some people that could, and they have Taj Boyd. There's some people that could be available that got some legit playing time last year.
Yeah. That Cincinnati squad, you're absolutely right. They are built right now. They are getting better, but I still think they're going to be a top 5 pick next year. I don't care.
So do I, 100%. I'm just saying we could maybe pick one of their wide receivers if they have to release one.
Right. And then week 1, found out Alshon Jeffrey was put on the PUP list. Did you guys see that?
No,
I didn't see that.
Yeah, I saw that earlier, that Alshon Jeffrey was getting put on the PUP list. I'm not sure. Maybe that was a fake account. I don't know. I haven't seen anybody say anything about it recently, but that was earlier today.
Alshon, nobody cares.
I did see that Marquise Goodwin was going to opt out of the season.
Yeah, he's opt out, which
I talking about the Eagles. So
I completely understand why he would do that, man.
Oh yeah,
his story's tragic with his wife.
I saw it on E60 a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, having so many miscarriages, and then she finally has a kid. He's 5 months pregnant. He's like, I'm not even going to risk it. Or I'm sorry, the kid's 5 months old. He's like, I'm not even going to risk it. And awesome, good. I wouldn't either, man. Family first.
Yeah, and I'm right there with him. He's making the smart decision for his family, and that's all that needs to be worried about right now. Now, Zach had alluded to earlier Ron's press conference, and he went into a lot. And one of the things that I really took away was his stance on kneeling. And what he said is he's going to stand for the national anthem, but he is going to kneel for the coin toss because he does support Black Lives Matter, but he also wants to make sure it's a point that he's representing the people in his life and his family and why he's standing for them. And it kind of goes hand in hand with Jack Del Rio's Twitter account, who has caused riots on Twitter. So I have to get your guys' opinions. What was your immediate reaction to Ron Rivera's quote on that?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Like, obviously, everyone knows he's a huge military guy, huge military supporter. And honestly, I don't really think he's one of those guys that thinks that kneeling for the flag is, disrespectful and stuff like that. But like you said, he wants to honor his wife's family members, his family members, his father and stuff like that. So I have no problem with what he's doing, obviously. And obviously he's not going to not back his players while they kneel for the national anthem. I think he's already come out and said that.
Yeah.
Numerous players, like Adrian Peterson, already came out and said they're going to kneel during the anthem. And I'm pretty sure Ron said he has no problem with that. Yep. And he even alluded to it in his press conference where we need to stop politicizing the American flag, and it's all about the Constitution and your freedom of speech and stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, I 100% stand with Ron Rivera. And the whole Jack Del Rio thing, again, I think we touched on this a couple of weeks ago or a little while ago. It's like, I don't really care, like, what you say on Twitter, your political stances like that, as long as you're having those discussions behind closed doors with the actual defensive players and the team and the people in the locker room. So, let Washington Twitter go crazy. And obviously, if the defense has to step up to the plate, Del Rio's going to get crushed even more. But I just think that with him and Ron coaching the defense up and all the additions they've made in the offseason and the current players on the roster that are already on the team, it's going to be a home run for the defense. And this whole Del Rio thing will just wash over as soon as the defense starts balling out.
Yeah, and in case you guys don't know, Jack Del Rio was like retweeting the HCQ video of the doctors standing out front of Capitol Hill talking about HCQ and everything, hydroxychloroquine, talking about that. And so it just Redskins Twitter again is up in riots. Saw one guy saying, maybe we should let him go. It's like,
come on, man,
dude, what are we doing?
People are so fucking dumb. I mean, first of all, him getting baited into that, thinking that was real, like, come on, check your sources a little bit there. But at the same time, don't crucify a guy for his political beliefs or because he's out there because of what he says on Twitter. If he was coming out there and saying something ridiculous, like just straight up, I don't know, racist, homophobic, or something like that, then all right, fine, I understand. And maybe we should get rid of him.
If he had Mike Reed's account,
yeah, if he had my account, I'd be like, yeah, you're gone, dude. You are outro. But you can't. I mean, people like that need to log the fuck off for a little bit. Sorry, I didn't mean to cuss.
No, it's fine. But no, you're absolutely right because the fact that people, like, there was one guy, this one account I follow was saying, he's openly being racist, and I know obviously his players are going to see this, and they're not going to play for him. They're not going to have his back. What do you mean? I haven't seen one racist thing come out of his mouth.
Right.
But what are you talking about? He just has his political views, and I hope that we can be adults here. Right. And one of his teammates would come over, and whatever his players would come over to him and say, hey, I want to have a conversation with you. Let's talk this out. Instead of going on Twitter and blasting about it or anything like that. So this whole thing that like Jack Del Rio is some terrible person because he's a conservative and has his own beliefs is absolutely ridiculous. I thought we got past this last time. But apparently every time that Jack Del Rio tweets, it just causes a firestorm.
It's stupid. And like you and Hall both said, as long as his players and him are communicating behind the scenes, it's okay. Do whatever you want to do. As long as they're okay with it, they understand that he still stands behind them and supports them and will help them out, and they put their trust in him, then it's fine. It's all good. People just need to calm down. You're not going to fire somebody because of who they support for the president.
The crazy thing is, it's just like, I'm pretty sure he's obviously had these beliefs the whole time he's been coaching. He was on ESPN, NFL Live, so it's like, just because he just joined Washington, like now,
it's today's
kind of like everyone's kind of going in an uprage. It's just like he's probably been doing this for years. It's just like now it's coming to light because
it's today's landscape. It's the way that it is
exactly,
today. Exactly. I mean, no matter what, like the Redskins wouldn't have changed their name if it wasn't the way that it was today.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just everything's so sensitive right now, and rightfully so in a lot of cases. But it's ridiculous that you're gonna try to make somebody lose their job because of their political beliefs.
Right, and I think it has a lot to do with people have
interdimensional child molesters and
people have just people just have way too much time on their hands today nowadays with being locked in the house with COVID. Too many people are on Twitter just letting thoughts pile up. Go outside for a walk, dude. Clear your head before you tweet. Talk about going after Jack Del Rio's head. Just unfollow him, mute him. Do what Bomani does. Anytime somebody disagrees with him, just block him.
Block him. Yeah.
Jack Del Rio should just tweet out, I don't remember. I had a big bowl of chili this morning. I don't remember tweeting that out.
Dude, I'm blocked by Bomani, man.
Are you?
Yeah. All because
you are? Nice.
Because back in I think 2013 or 2014, he was claiming that Grant and Danny were racist, that Jay Gruden was racist for benching RG3 for Kirk Cousins.
Oh my God.
The year later, RG3 leaves for Cleveland, has a terrible season, gets benched or gets hurt, and so then I reached out to him again. And I was like, "Hey, are they still racist?" He blocked me.
Little did you know, Jay Gruden was out there having drug-fueled parties.
Right.
He was out just trying to hook up with college girls at the bar, apparently.
Yeah. Jay Gruden, man. Oh, man, what a person, man. I'll tell you what.
I'll tell you what. No, I want to ask you a legitimate question because I thought it was a good one. And that was, who of the rookies of this season do you see doing the best out of this rookie class? It was my brother.
The Redskins?
No, out of the NFL. And who do you think the offensive rookie of the year is going to be?
Offensive rookie of the year. It's tough. I think usually you kind of should lean quarterbacks. I think Joe Burrow has a good chance, but I think Burrow missing some time and just getting his contract signed. I don't know how that's going to affect them. And plus, I mean, Cincinnati's really kind of lacking talent. I think that there's also a couple running backs out there that you could really look at. Jonathan Taylor is going to have every opportunity as long as he fixes his fumbling. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is a stud. We all know about Jerry Jeudy and CeeDee Lamb, but I really like the quarterbacks, especially Joe Burrow on offense. On defense, I like Chase Young. I know that sounds ridiculous going first and second pick, but they're just the most logical choices. It's a quarterback-driven league. Joe Burrow, we saw what he did in college. He's super talented. He's super accurate with the football. He just seems like he has it all, and he's going to have some pretty good weapons out there at wide receiver. And he's getting his left tackle back. He's getting Jonah Williams back. So I think that he should put up some pretty good numbers. Expect some of those early pick running backs too as well.
Yeah, and I loved your CEH pick because that goes hand in hand. I think you're absolutely right about that. What about you, Hall?
Yeah, Reed took my answer. I was going to go Jonathan Taylor as well. I think he's going to come in and just dominate behind that great Colts offensive line. Frank Wright's a guy that likes to run the ball first, establish the run, and then push the ball down the field, which is going to bode well for T.Y. Hilton and Michael Pittman Jr., who again, they're not going to be rookie of the year.
Rivers
Another great standout this year. But I definitely think it'll be Jonathan Taylor. I can see him going for over 1,000 yards, maybe between 7 to 8 touchdowns total, and
10 fumbles.
I know he's been getting involved a little bit more in the passing game, so maybe 100, 200 yards in the receiving game. But yeah, I mean, you're 100% right there. It's a QB-driven league, so I wouldn't be surprised if Joe Burrow gets it. And obviously, I mean, I'm going to go with the Predator for Defensive Rookie of the Year. I mean,
everybody's
he's about to hunt.
For offense, dude, I'm going to tell you right now, I think it's going to be Jerry Jeudy. And I think that he is going to blow this league by storm. I mean, look at his division. They don't really have defenses there. And look at that offense. They have multiple running backs. They can run the ball well. And then he also has Cortland Sutton. And then Laviska Shenault. Was that the other one?
KJ Hamler.
Oh, KJ Hamler. So, look, he's going to be able to do whatever he wants. It's not like they can double cover him at all times. So I think Jerry Jeudy, coming off of the year that Drew Lock had, where at the end of the season he really started lighting up and everyone's picking for him to really blow up this season, I think Jerry Jeudy, he has all the tools to be a superstar wide receiver, and I think that starts this year. I think he's kind of disrespected by the whole CeeDee Lamb talk and who went around him. I think that he should have gone a lot higher, but I think it's Jerry Jeudy in my opinion.
You know who Jerry Jeudy kind of reminds me of that we haven't really talked about? He almost kind of reminds me of Terry McLaurin, where he's a similar size, similar build. He's fast and a fantastic route runner, and he's just going to go up and get the ball. So I could see him having a Terry McLaurin type year in that offense.
Yeah, but I think you're absolutely right, Reed. I think CEH is probably the most likely candidate in my opinion. We've talked about ad nauseum. Andy Reid's running backs every year are top 10 in fantasy. And given that they have Pat Mahomes being the main weapon, CEH is going to get a lot of productivity in that offense. Andy Reid's going to make it easy on him. He's going to slide right in and do well all season long. So I wouldn't be surprised to see CEH either.
Brian Westbrook clone.
Yeah,
in that offense.
I forgot that. Yeah, that was your comp, wasn't it?
That was all. Yeah.
So around the league, do you guys see what Bill Belichick's doing with the Patriots?
All their players are opting out of the season.
All of their players. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous what's happening. Marcus Cannon.
He's looking for that Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields.
Thank for Trevor.
He knows what he's doing. He's got a plan.
But look, let's be serious though. At the end of the day, you already know all these players are opting out. Bill Belichick is going to turn some nobody, 7th round pick, undrafted free agent that no one's heard of, came from Division III, like college, and they'll lead the league in sacks somehow, some way. So I don't see them tanking for Trevor Lawrence, but I could definitely see them for the first time in a while maybe missing the playoffs, which could go hand in hand with them maybe trading up to get Trevor Lawrence. But I mean, the mastermind knows what he's doing behind the scenes.
Yeah, look, Dante Hightower, he was the biggest one to me because that's the captain of the defense, and Patrick Chung, who is a proven veteran in that Bill Belichick system. They are really the voice of that defense, and I thought that was a really telling. And I kind of feel bad for Cam because it's like Cam's getting put right back in the position that he was in Carolina, where he has to do everything. And that's kind of where it's at right now, and I feel bad for him. And I really hope they don't tank because I was really excited to see Bill Belichick with Cam Newton just light the league on fire.
Right. Oh yeah, I completely agree with you. I'll tell you who I think is the biggest loss though because of COVID. Michael Pierce with the Vikings. They had just lost them of linemen. And now there he is. He's opted out.
Yeah, and that's such a crappy situation. But, everyone has their own circumstances. Everyone knows what they're doing. And I understand why Caleb Brantley opted out. He was probably going to get cut anyway. But he was like, look, I can take this as $1 million check right now. Why wouldn't I pull that trigger?
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of realize why he's doing that, and it makes a lot of sense. But I don't really have anything else for us, guys.
Yeah, I don't either. My computer will just freeze, so it doesn't matter.
Every time you talk, it just freezes.
Like,
Sick. Thanks for keeping me on today.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. All right,
unwatchable.
Right, and everyone, please, if you have a Twitter account, there's only about 12 hours left, I believe. If you can go on Twitter and go to the Bracketeers Twitter account and go vote for us. In the young and up-and-coming podcasters bracket challenge right now, we're going against Tom Green's podcast to advance the second round. If you could go and vote for us, that would be incredible. We would absolutely love it. We don't get anything out of it. We're just trying to win.
Yeah. Winners want to win.
We want to beat the guy who started and Freddie got fingered.
Is it actually like a podcast about Tom Green, or like that is the guy's name?
No, that's just the guy's name.
No,
okay.
it's Tom. No, it's Tom Green.
I really wish it was, because that would
like some sausage.
I would absolutely love to bring him on for a pod if that was Tom Green. That would be hilarious. Can you imagine talking football with Tom Green?
My bum is on the camera. My bum is on the. All right.
All right. All right.
I got fired by the president.
That was the worst interview ever. Oh man. When Tom Green was on the Junkies like a couple years ago, dude, it was so bad. It was so bad. All right, everyone. Well, I'm Kyle.
I'm Hall. I'm not Courtney Cleaves, guys. I'm Hall.
And I am gonna freeze here in a second. So what I say.
Well done, sir. Well done. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for turning into the Burgundy Zone. We'll be back with another episode for you guys on Thursday. Please go and like us on. You'll have a Wi-Fi booster on Thursday. I'm glad your computer will appreciate that too. All right, everyone. Well, please go like us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can find us on Good Pods, iTunes, and then YouTube as well. Please go and like us, subscribe, and then go like us on Bracketeers. Give us a vote. Let's move on to the second round. We're trying to win, baby.
Yes, sir. The Cinderella story, baby.
And we'll see you guys on Thursday, all right? Washington football. Woo!
Woo!
That was weird.